AIFFRO offers one of the smallest 4-slot M.2 NAS minis on the market with the K100. It looks no different from a regular mini PC and can be used that way if you really want to. It comes with certain limitations. We've seen this particular case design before, with the top being metal, the bottom plastic, and the side allowing air to be pulled in for cooling. Inside the K100 is Intel's N100, a basic budget 4-core CPU with UHD graphics capable of everyday computing and is a decent chip for NAS duties. Included with AIFFRO's K100 is a manual, USB-C cable, and compact 65-watt USB-C power supply. All the ports have been moved to the back and only the power button is found on the front of it. The rear features a Realtek 2.5 gigabit LAN port, HDMI 1.4, dual USB 2, and dual USB Type-C data only. Yes, I know the DisplayPort logo is on both of the ports, but the specs say it's data only, and more importantly, I actually tested both and got no display. So why are the logos there? Because reasons. The final USB port is used for powering the Mini with a USB-C power supply and doesn't support data or display. So what's the asking price? Well, there's one option available which comes with a 256GB SSD and 8GB of LPDDR5 4800, which is soldered RAM that is not upgradable, for $350 USD. Although you can get 15% off your first order if you sign up for the newsletter, which would bring it under $300. That's still a lot more than regular N100 mini PCs, but keep in mind they don't come with 4 M.2 SSD slots. Minis should be easy to open, and this one isn't, thanks to the annoying glued-on rubber feet, which much like Greta Thunberg, refuse to go away. Once those suckers are finally ripped out, 4 screws, then we can remove the plastic lid. There's a metal plate covering the SSDs for cooling, which connects to the plastic lid via these 3 pads. Another 4 screws to remove, and disappointingly, there's only one SSD thermal pad included. For its intended use as a NAS, I don't see anyone using just the included SSD, so you're going to have to source some thermal pads if you want to make use of the cooling. All 4 M.2 slots are running Gen 3 X2 speed, so that maxes out at around 1.6 GB per second sequential. Plenty to saturate the 2.5 gigabit LAN port. The 8 GB of RAM is soldered and not upgradable, and there's no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to be found, nor the option to add it. However, the last resort is USB Wi-Fi or USB LAN if you want those additional ports. The K100 arrived with TeamOS on it, and this is not a newbie-friendly option. AIFFRO basically says on their website it's up to you to get your NAS running. I did try Ubuntu for one of the benchmarks and it worked fine, but I'd be using TrueNAS for this normally. Since I want to see its cooling and overall performance compared to similar mini PCs, I installed Windows 11 Pro to get a bananas to bananas comparison. And starting off, Cinebench single core performance is good out of the box and what you'd expect for an N100. Multi-core is also above average, however, the best N100s reach around 3000 points and the K100 comes in pretty close. Geekbench single core is also fine, although a couple of N100s beat it. Multi-core is on the upper end of the chart. Video encoding with the CPU also shows above average performance, with only a few N100 minis doing better. When it comes to quick sync encoding performance, the AIFFRO K100 does very well, beating out many N100 and N150 minis tested. Intel's N100 has very basic graphics performance, and the K100 has one of the lowest scores across Firestrike, TimeSpy, and Steel Nomad Lite. But 3D performance isn't important for its usage case. We haven't had a chance to look at the code compile performance of Intel's N100, so here it is, close to this Ryzen 3500U. While this NAS won't be used for Adobe Photoshop and Premiere, it's also a good chance to benchmark the N100 chip in these newer tests. In Adobe Premiere, it matches the 3500U, which is impressive given its lower power draw. The included generic SSD is a decent performer compared to other Intel N series minis, but nothing exceptional. It has some basic cooling, well, only for the included drive, so no surprise it holds up well in the SSD thrash test. An idle power draw of 9 watts is pretty standard, and the maximum hit during all the benchmarking was 30 watts, although this will be more with additional SSDs if the CPU is also put under load. Maximum CPU temp is the lowest recorded yet. It's not too difficult to cool the N100, but the low temp is accomplished with higher fan noise compared to other minis with a default setting. AIFFRO's K100 is below average in size, even for a mini PC with Intel's N series, and that's really impressive with 4 included M.2 slots. Press delete during the boot sequence to get into the BIOS. On the main page, you can set the fan mode. Normal is plenty though. There's not much else, so let's move on to the conclusion. AIFFRO's K100 comes with a metal case, and the build quality is fine. It's pricey for a mini PC with an Intel N100, even if it has 4 M.2 slots. Unfortunately, no bare bones option is available. The USB-C power supply is very compact, and I tried the USB power port with my USB-C monitor and it powered on fine. Other mini PC features aren't included, most notably dual LAN. Not being easy to open is a shame for a unit that everyone will be opening for its intended usage case. It's good to see the maximum memory speed for the N100 included, but it's not replaceable or upgradable. Overall performance is good, as is CPU cooling. I've given it a pass for SSD cooling, however, not including additional thermal pads for the M.2 slots on a NAS is not acceptable in my opinion. There's no Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. USB is an option if you really need either. Load fan noise is higher than most minis with an N100. I didn't see any BIOS updates, driver downloads, or any downloads whatsoever for the K100 on the official website. A CMOS reset button isn't necessary with such a bare bones BIOS, but this mini doesn't have one, so it doesn't get a tick. I couldn't find any info about a longer warranty than the standard 1 year, and I didn't even see a 1-year warranty mentioned at all, which is surprising. There's only a section about a 30-day return. That's the AIFFRO K100 all SSD NAS. Tiny, performs well, but has a bunch of limitations. Ideal for someone that needs something small or highly portable. If you're interested in it, check out the links in my video description. Thanks for watching. I've got plenty of mini PC related content, and maybe you'll be interested in this video next. Cheers!